Good morning and hello. This is Jessica White with the Collective Conversation. And today I am really excited to introduce our guest speaker, Marc Morse, owner of Continental Door Company. Marc, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jessica.
You're a member of our business community, the Growth Collective, and it's just been a joy getting to know you and your business. And one of the things that I really noticed out of the gate with your company, I'm really astutely aware of customer experience, and I'm clear that your company really gets that. And so I was intrigued with Continental Door Company from the beginning. And I know that you're a top rated residential and commercial garage door company. You do openers, installation services in the Pacific Northwest. Your reputation is impeccable. And so I'm just really excited to chat with you today and kind of dive into your business and talk a little bit. I mean, clearly you've done some things right. And so in the services industry, it's not always the easiest. So I'd like to just ask you some questions about your business today and jump right in.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Tell us, Mark, what led you and your dad and your brother to launch this company?
Well, that's going to be a long story, but I would say in just a nutshell, a lot of it was just luck and being at the right spot at the right time. And with anybody that's ever had a good luck streak, you would recognize that. But for me and my brother specifically, we were just graduating high school when Dad had an opportunity to start this business. And at that time, my brother and I had many opportunities, but the one thing that we all valued was working around each other. We've always been a
Mm,
tight family, a tight unit. And it was an opportunity to get really in on the ground floor, buy into the company while it was young, and see where this thing goes. And I can tell you, looking back on it, it's been a wonderful journey. But we are not a overnight success story by any stretch. We're 20 plus years into this, and I feel like it was just yesterday that my brother and dad and I were the ones out in the field doing all the work. So it's
yeah.
really just a blur. But you know, when you see an opportunity, sometimes you're gonna mistake it for something else. This particular one just came right in front of us, and it spoke to us, so we capitalized on it.
I love it. And you guys have a large team now. How many folks do you guys have?
It hovers right around that 50
Yeah.
mark, little over, sometimes just a little bit under with seasonality and movement in the employment sector there. But we ventured into that slightly uncomfortable zone right when you hit the 50. There's a
Yes.
couple extra rules out there you got to follow.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, share with us some key factors that helped the company grow and stand out.
Great question, Jessica. And I think this is possibly one of the areas I'd like to spend some time at. And do my best to give you guys the straight right from the gut
Mhm.
on those secrets. I would say big picture would be work ethic, promoting from within, customer service, and then aligning with the best team. So the company culture is huge. There's days in our company that I get reminded by staffers that Mark, we know better, we can do better. You've trained us better. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't be handling it this way. And what I mean by that is it's easy to get into your business and just become transactional, which somebody once explained to me this, that you've got a sales hat and you've got a business hat, and not a lot of people can wear both. So it's
Mhm.
easy to have that customer service with that sales hat, but as soon as the sale's made, then you put on your business hat, which is the idea of making the company as much money as possible. They're both great philosophies. However, they can be slightly different. And depending on where you rank in that company, you may come at situations or conflicts a little differently if you're just looking at just the bottom line, where the bottom line helps the top line with sales. And if they're not really seeing eye to eye, you will have a future problem with your brand. And so really our culture knows that the customer is king. So now I'll dovetail into that. And by that doesn't mean that we always put our customer on the pedestal, because occasionally the customer does need education, or they do need some type of reprimand for potentially pushing into an area that we can't get.
Gotta have
But
boundaries. Mhm.
yeah, have boundaries. But really, to whenever the phones are ringing or we have an opportunity with a customer, they're not calling us because they're having a good day. They are calling us most likely because they're in a bad way. We just start the conversation off with, we want to help them. To help them, we're going to need some information, then we can get going on stuff. But to really treat that customer like we want to see them really for life. And I know there's a lot of companies out there that have got the mantra of customer for life. I believe Continental Door fully embodies that,
Mhm.
clearly represented with our Google reviews. I mean, you can't have that many Google reviews just by luck.
No, you
Something
cannot.
else was the that promoting from within. We have found that to be wildly successful. Heck, when we started the company, my brother and I, we were installers. Now, we had a feeling that that wouldn't be for long. We were probably doing that a little longer than we would have liked to, but at the early stages, you do what you got to do. But we've taken that same idea that there are installers that are with us that started out as installers that are now managers of departments, or that are team leads,
Mhm.
or whatever that looks like. And to see that opportunity and growth from within is just so rewarding from all different perspectives.
And they have a sense of pride. Don't you notice that there's a different sense of pride and ownership?
Oh,
When,
a hundred
yeah,
percent. I
it's night
think
and day.
it's almost like they wear the tattoo just as proud as the owners do.
I love
And
that.
like I said, sometimes they're the ones that are reminding us on, no, this is the Continental way. We don't handle our business like our competition. We are above those guys.
I love it. You know, you bring up a really good point that's going to have to be a conversation for another day, but that's the sales and the business hat and the whole conversation of who's committed and who's responsible for what and the friction that can come up amongst team members, right? I have been a sales manager before. I've seen this firsthand. I've been a salesperson, right? And so that's a really, really great topic that you bring up in terms of how does a company come in and handle that such that you're maintaining that culture, right? Nothing's being compromised. Because if there's something that I've learned, it starts at the top. We've heard that before, right? So you and your brother and your dad really do set the tone for the company, and you always will. The leaders and your employees are always watching you. So when I look at those reviews, you know, and I've said this to you before, I'm confident in referring you because I know however the transaction's going to go, you're going to take care of the customer based on 1,000+ 5-star reviews, right? I just know it. It really takes something to get there, and we're going to jump into that a little bit more. But kudos to you guys because it's not an easy thing to do and it requires a lot of intentionality. And I think folks will step over this. This is an area where they will compromise to take the easy road. And so I really have to tip my hat off to you because I know that the challenges you've probably been along. And so I want to jump into that. You have had some challenges along the way. What have been some of the biggest hurdles that you guys have faced in this industry?
Well, there's the good news is, now being in business 20 years, I feel like we're at a point where we've almost seen just about everything.
Yeah.
There's a couple scenarios that we haven't played out, and I'm going to just knock on the hardwood right now that I don't want to see the ultimate challenge. But you know, you've challenges obviously. The customers aren't usually that much of a challenge. You know, getting your pricing right, getting your offering right to the customer, that is very important. I would say most of the challenges are at a different level for us, would be really an internal, how are we going to organize this? How are we going to reward? How are we going to push ahead with the team that we've got? Because as you're growing this, it's not always the same team that you started with that's going to continue to grow. There's going to be modifications. There's going to be alterations to it, and that gets tough because sometimes you get your emotions in the way on is this the right fit? Is this the right person? You get comfortable with this person. That entity has been done that for a while, but now we need something else. And can we get to the other side together? That is a key challenge. Another
That is
challenge
great.
that really came up in COVID, and we're almost kind of back in that similar mindset now with the potential tariffs and just escalation, is historically a backlog of work for our industry has just been wonderful. It's almost take it to the bank. You can almost get a loan on it. It's basically people that have put deposits down or signed letters or contracts for future work, and that work could be in 3 weeks, 3 months, or it could even be a year out. Back in COVID, though, we found out firsthand how that asset of a backlog of work can become your biggest nightmare and a liability. And what I mean by that is when you have a contract with a customer, most of those contracts before COVID did not have the verbiage in there to protect both sides for fair price escalation. So we would be locked into a price essentially with a customer, but truly we were not locked into a price with our manufacturer. Our manufacturers are able to raise their rates. There's not a contract with them, and really also with your employees. You know, the cost of doing business is going up, so you've got all these rising costs, but your actual bottom line is if anything, it's actually weakening if you don't manage it. And that caught us kind of not so much by surprise, but doing the business for at that point that would have been about 16 years. A backlog of work was always a future indication on where we're going. Then we learned that you got to manage it, and you've got to be very tactful and very
Yeah.
quick to react.
Yes. Would you share with us some of the lessons in customer service, maybe business ops, and adapting to industry changes?
Well, I think I just mentioned that being very adaptable
Hmm.
is very important. And I'll give you so one of our strengths is our internal brand, that's Continental Door, and it brings me a lot of pride when somebody calls in on the phone. They say, "Mark, I've got a Continental Door that needs some service of some kind." And you know, it warms my heart to think that, but they really don't have a Continental Door. They have a Clopay door. They have a Cornell door that we distribute and install. We are not the manufacturer, so we need that partnership with a good manufacturer to back us. And if you are in any relationship, business or personal, and you have the wrong relationship, it's going to mess everything up. And we have been so lucky with our manufacturers over 20 years that we have stayed loyal, we have stayed true with them, and they are a staple. We do not promote their brand exclusively just because we have a contract with them. There is no contract. We're free range, and it's an open market. We can go to whoever we want. But we've learned time and time again that they are the right trade partner by a lot of reasons. One of which would be our pricing levels, the level of support, the brand recognition, the special opportunities that they afford a dealer of our size. And it's been a long time to get here, but I'm very proud to say that this company that we've created is nationally recognized through the manufacturers on our sales achievement. And we pass that same success right on to our customers because they get special benefits based on our sales volume and so on and so forth. But my last piece there with just keeping in touch with your trade partners, it's also a relationship. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to get transactional, meaning I'm ordering this, you send me that, I pay the bill. That's great. I can promise you that the robots aren't running the manufacturing just yet. It's people. We do some small stuff. We're on the phone with our manufacturers. We have regular scheduled meetings with our manufacturers, you know, checking the pulse, making sure that everything is good and aligned. But one thing that we've really tapped into is something that's very personal, is just a thank you. So our
Mm.
critical trade partners, at the end of the year, we send them a Christmas gift, and it's personally to them, not the company. And this isn't us buying their appreciation. This is just telling them that they were in the
Gratitude.
trenches with us. We appreciate it. And I've been told many times that when we're at the highest level, that manufacturer, they will ask us, you know, what is it with you guys in your CSR on the inside? Like that person pulls exclusively hard for you guys. Like when they've got a mound of work, they will focus on your guys' work ahead of others. And I may or may not tell them, well, they like us. Well, they like us 'cause we're good people.
The intangible benefit of relationship, right? It really, really is so crucial, so crucial. So glad that you brought that up because that was what I was hearing and everything is that you were speaking was these relationships that you've built over decades, such that they already know how you're going to react when they have bad news for you and vice versa, right? They know the best way to deliver it to Mark and vice versa, right? That's when the intangible starts to become tangible now. Because now I know how to communicate with you because I'm in relationship with you and I
Yeah.
know how you prefer to receive it, what works best. Talk to us about what makes Continental Door, and you kind of, I picked up on some things, but what makes you different from your competition? I talk about a lot. You got to be really clear on what separates you from your competition. Otherwise, you're left to compete on price, and you never want that. And I know that you're clear on this. So, what makes you different?
Yeah, there's a handful of things. Some people would call it like a USA unique selling advantage. And the interesting thing is our industry, unfortunately, is starting to become a little bit more commoditized, which is never an ideal thing when you're looking to set yourself apart, not just by price, but actually by the offering or the service or the widget or whatever it is. And so we've always got that fight against us. And with that, we don't want to be the highest price. We don't want to be the lowest price. We want to be the correct price. But going along with that, one of our competitiveness is we're still in Spokane. Spokane is roughly a 100th size of a city in the states. We are not a big city. We're definitely not a small. We're right in the middle. Everybody says we're in the biggest little city that there is, right? But it's still very much a connected market on who knows who and who knows us. And the family owned business part, I think, is a very strong piece. And I've asked around specifically to our internal customers, that would be our employees, and they've got options. They can go work for a different organization, not in our market or in our market, but they time and time again have said they like working with us because they're closer to decision makers, and also the idea that we're flexible. We do have rules, but they're not unrealistic rules. And because of that, now our employees can go out and serve the customers that much better. I think that's a big advantage. Another thing is that the people in the office, when they answer the phone, we just will not settle for somebody that doesn't want to answer the phone. Well, they're not going to answer the phone, or this isn't the right company for them. Answer the phone with a smile. Our competition just does a great job of answering the phone with this attitude of like, why would I even call them? I mean, it's horrendous. The other thing would be, so that would be the office side of stuff. So that's usually the first impression for the customer. But then the second impression, and the one that probably means a lot to them, would be the installers.
Mm.
And we pay our installers hourly as opposed to piece rate. And there's two sides of these opinions. You've got your sales and your business, and how can we all do better around here? Well, the hourly, the benefits that we see are really to the customer. In some cases, we're paying more to get the job done, but we really want to make sure that the installer is rewarded to take the time to get the job done, to go over the install, to really let that customer know that they are everything. They're the only thing that matters at that time, as opposed to, I've got to hurry up and get to the next job opportunity. No, that customer in front of you is the most important thing. And then I'd say the last thing that makes us unique is again that external partnership with our trade partners. I can't say it enough that they are the best in the industry. We've had opportunities to work with others, but our guiding star is always those manufacturers that they're our ride and die. And for that, they listen to us, they let us give them input, and they treat our account at the highest level, and then we pass that same level of service down to our customers, and it's a complete win-win relationship.
And 1,000 5-star reviews, over 1,000 5-star reviews. I mean, your competition can't say that, right? That's a difficult thing to achieve in the services industry at all. And so huge. I mean, just awesome. I know I talked briefly about some of the services that you provided, but would you, I don't want to leave anything out. So, because I know you do a lot of custom stuff too. You do residential and commercial. So would you kind of go over your services offered,
Yep.
please?
So our main service that people are going to know us for is production. So new installation of a garage door, whether that be residential or commercial. Our production teams work a lot with residential production builders that are doing the development of homes all in a division. We also work with some of the best and most specialized custom home builders. And those guys are always very fun to work with because none of their stuff is off the shelf. It's all custom type stuff. On the commercial side, we do similar acts that we work with the large contractors that are active in the bid market. We also work a lot with the negotiated work. And the negotiated work is very rewarding work because they don't give that work to somebody that doesn't have a brand and a reputation to support it. But nonetheless, we're on all the big predominant projects in really the inland Northwest, whether they be a hospital, whether they be a storage facility, whether they be governmental, or frankly, just a facility. So very active in new door installation. The other thing is if there's an old door on a project that needs replacing, heck, we can take that on, and we love that type of work. Also within that, we've got a gate department. So that would be like your motorized driveway gate. That's, security is a ever-growing thing. We probably could be a while talking about that with what we all see out on the streets. So that's a big thing. And then a great service department. So it's one thing to put the door in correctly at the install, but that door will need periodic service. And so we have a service department that anywhere we go, they can be invited to come back and help that customer out if something was to come up at a later date.
Okay. So, talk to us about what homeowners and business owners should know about garage door technology, security, or energy efficiency.
All right, another great question. So the first thing is it would be a awesome time currently for a owner to be looking at a new door or a repair of door because they have a plethora of options. Over the past 10 to 15 years, the door manufacturers have realized that the door oftentimes is that new front door to the property. If it's a home, you barely even use your front door anymore. You use the garage door because you can give a keypad code out to the kids. You can not get out of your vehicle. You can hit a handheld remote. All those things are just so cool. And with that, now you've got enhanced door options, security, energy efficiencies. You've got different design criteria to just completely change the look and the feel of really your project. Again, being residential or commercial, it would all be the same. Some things that also have changed over the past couple of years would be energy efficiencies, and then also connectivity. So the energy efficiencies is really being pushed by our governmental bodies that are saying that we want these new buildings built to the highest energy efficiencies to save on the environment. And one of the holes in a building is a garage or what could be a garage door. So putting on a highly efficient door that's going to have better R value or U factor, depending on which one of the markers you want to look at, will pay the owner in time and energy efficiencies. Oftentimes, the better insulated products also offer a better range of security because they're more construction, they're heavier duty, so on and so forth. And then the last thing would be that connectivity that, 10 years ago, Amazon was just starting, but nobody needed a package delivered to their house and let the delivery guy slide it under the door. They would just put it on the porch, let the porch pirates get to it. Well, no, that's kind of a thing of the past. And it hasn't been fully rolled out to our market, but it's coming to the spot where that Amazon driver can have access code, a one-time code to get the package into your garage. There'll be a camera on your motor that will witness that they've done it. They've got to shut the door, make sure that it's shut behind them, and then they go off on their route. You at that time could be somewhere remote, anywhere in the world, and you would have evidence that that was done. It's all peace of mind, and that's all being done through the connectivity really of the operator connected to the Wi-Fi.
Okay, some interesting stuff going on there. So I kind of want to wrap this up. I'd like you to share maybe a key piece of advice for business owners, because you've learned some things building this reputation-based business, this reputation-based service business, decades in the making. If you could offer someone watching a key piece of advice, what would it be?
Um, Start at the top. Your leadership has got to be dialed in, and I think, as you said, everybody's really looking to the leader, and that leader needs to be steadfast. I can tell you, everybody thinks that being a business owner is real cool until they jump into it, and then if they're being honest, they find out that it's a very tough job. It can be very rewarding, and it can be very humiliating too at the same time,
Yeah.
with just the amount of pressure and stress that you've got. But what I've personally found is, if there's something that's bothering you, be drawn to it as opposed to just, being reactionary afterwards. If you can draw into it, lean into it, solve it. Do it as quick as you possibly can, because eventually it's something that's gonna come up again and again, and it's gonna haunt you. And then I would say the other thing would be, again, just from anybody, leader or person that wants to become a leader, is set daily habits. I'm a firm believer that exceptional teams and exceptional people are really just excelling more than the average because they do the same thing day in, day out, and they have built into their practice the best things, and they just do it consistently, and they don't give up until they've achieved that goal. So many people, they get bored with it, and yeah, it can get boring, but once you get into a good rhythm and your daily habits are dialed in, I can assure you it's just a matter of time that you will get to that other side.
That is some solid, solid advice of right there. Habits, consistency is really what sets the elite apart from the mediocre. I see it all the time. Okay, we had some questions. I have a question for you. How often should someone have their garage door inspected?
Yeah, and so this is also really per our manufacturers as well. They're going to recommend that your garage door, commercial or residential, be looked at ideally every 12 months. If you're in a use application that your garage door system is getting worked a whole lot more, and a key example of that would be like maybe a parking garage or a fire station. You may want somebody to look at it every 6 or even 3 months. But I will be honest that, most people probably don't look at their door until it's broke. Um, Knowing a company like ours, it's all the same to us. We'll help you at any level you can. But what I would encourage people to do, now that they're aware that maybe their garage door needs to be looked at, instead of just going and pushing the button, walking through the door and shutting it, push the button and actually watch it work. Listen to it. The door is most likely talking to you. If it doesn't sound like it's running smooth, if you're hearing a lot of metal, some friction, or you're seeing a lot of effort as the door is operating, that you are a prime example of, you're probably time to have somebody look at it. If you're fairly mechanical, a good set of petroleum lube, something that like an aerosol lube, will go a long way. But you do need to be careful that garage doors can be very dangerous. A lot of moving parts. They've
Mhm.
got springs and cables, so please don't just weekend warrior it just because you think the can of lube will solve everything. It may get away from you real quick.
Yeah, that is some great advice, Mark. Well, I just really want to thank you for being here today and being so gracious with your time and giving us a lot of really valuable information in a very condensed period of time. That was very helpful. You can visit Continental Door at continentaldoorco.com, and you can reach Mark directly at 509 991 4819. His contact information will be below as well. And thank you, Mark. We're just I'm super proud to have a business owner like you in this community, right? Other business owners who get it and who are doing it well, makes me feel pride for our community. And so congrats to you and your team, and thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and appreciate where our team is going here.
Absolutely.